The Green City Startup is an initiative of the City of Joburg in collaboration with the University of Johannesburg and Resolution Circle. This initiative aims to accelerate visionary entrepreneurs in the green economy. And this is the penultimate episode of the Green City Startup Show. On the show this week, we profile GCS finalist Samantha Jack. We attend site visits to each of the top 8 GCS finalists. We receive expert advice from one of our mentors, and we sit down with Billy Silakane on the big interview. Hello, I'm Janice Griever and welcome to the Green City Startup Show. Now today is our second last program, but we do still want you to interact with us on all our social media platforms, the Green City Startup on Facebook and at the GC Startup on Twitter. All likes and comments are welcome. GCS finalist Samantha Jack imagines a time where humanity shuns traditional and wasteful agriculture farming for more efficient and reliable approaches. With this vision, she created Ndoki, an urban cricket farm with the aim of establishing an alternative, eco-conscious source of protein.
When I found out about the Green City Startup Competition 2016, I knew exactly who to call. A team of friends, a team of biologists, a team of engineers, people who had a vision for the future and a passion for people, people who wanted to make a difference. So we all sat down together and we brainstormed and we came up with a whole bunch of different ideas of how we could make Joburg a greener and better place. And the best answer to that question was Ndoki. It was urban farming, it was creating jobs, it was creating nutrition for the nation.
I have a massive passion for life and building sustainable cities and having a sustainable earth for the future. And I really believe that, we borrow this earth from our children, and we have to ensure that by the time it gets around to them, there's still a beautiful world here for us to share with them.
So part of my life passion in teaching people about nature and about how important it is to understand nature and the biology of things in life led me to this project Ndoki, because I feel like I can affect people's lives by actually doing something green and doing something sustainable.
Did you know that South Africa imported 7.3 billion rands worth of food last year alone? That's food that we could be growing in our country. Those are jobs that we could be creating for our people. And what we want to do at Ndoki is provide them with the technology and the opportunity to do just that. And that is insect farming on a mass scale in urban environments.
Ndoki is focusing on 2 species of crickets. We're looking at Akita domesticus and Gryllus bimaculatus. These are very important species of crickets. The Akita domesticus is a very, very delicious insect. So when we grind it up for flour, we'll have really good tasting cookies. The Gryllus bimaculatus, which we call a black cricket, is actually an indigenous species of cricket to South Africa. Now this is obviously very important because as a green business, we want to remain green and we want to ensure that what we're working with is healthy for the environment no matter what.
Well, it all starts off with a very, very simple box and a playground for crickets inside. We fill it with food which is healthy and nutritious for them so that in time they can grow. And in 6 to 8 weeks from then, they too will be healthy and good for human consumption. We grind them up into a flour. It's fine, it's tasty, it's nutty, and you can bake it into any product that you like. Cookies, muffins, but what we're really interested in is bread, because that is a substance that people touch and consume every single day, and that's where we're going to make the impact in society in South Africa.
Crickets can also be served for the more adventurous among us. It can be served just how they are. You can fry them, you can put them in jelly, you can put them in lollipops. Overseas, in Thailand and America, they eat them in all sorts of cuisine. They even put them in tacos, they put them in sandwiches. They are an exciting way to serve crickets and to spice them. But coming to the South African market, which may not be used to eating crickets, we first want to bring the product of cricket flour, which is a lot more appetizing for people who are not used to this cuisine yet.
It's about growing food more sustainably, more intelligently, and more scalably than we have before as a species. Part of that is new products, things like insect protein. that even though we've been enjoying for thousands of years, we haven't been doing it on the scale which is necessary to look after the Earth's resources. Ndoki is about using all that we've learned, all of our technology, and applying it to an industry which hasn't changed in 4,000 years. We've been growing food the same way since before we even built cities. And the way we learned to do it then is not going to be the way we need to do it into the future. To look after our water, to make the use of space that we have, and to create jobs for communities that really need it. We have chronic unemployment in South Africa, and providing low-skilled job opportunities for our communities is critical to making the future a better and healthier place for people to be. At Ndoki, we're all about feeding the future, so help us create nutritional meals for our communities, help us create jobs for our nation, and help us do the thing.
For more videos and more information on the finalists, visit our website www.TheGreenCityStartup.co.za. And if you're a startup yourself, you'll find a wealth of information to help you get your business going. Speaking of which, here's Brandon with some entrepreneurial hints and tips.
Running your own business can be stressful, but getting enough clients to keep it afloat, that's one of the most overwhelming and stressful tasks of all. I found these tips by Melissa Griffin on how to get more clients and keep them coming. Let's have a look. Firstly, actively participate in Facebook groups. Join Facebook groups where your ideal clients may be engaging in. Based on what your industry or business operates in, find Facebook groups that address topics that are relevant to you. Then, instead of sending them spam, engage with individuals by offering help when they ask for insight. That's literally all there is to it. People will notice and check out your profile, which should be your business Facebook page. Secondly, answer questions on Twitter. Many people turn to Twitter for advice and assistance. Search for hashtags that are labeled with a keyword and help or keyword and recommendations. It's literally the most simple way of finding people who need what you're selling. The point is, when people ask questions that you have the answers to, answer them. Next, follow up with past clients. Simply send past clients a mail to see how things are going and ask if any more help is needed. You may also discover something that you know a specific client will appreciate. Send it to them to prove you're just looking out for them. Finally, focus your business on a specific audience. It's hard to grow when you're marketing yourself to the entire world. If you specialize or develop a niche, you can grow faster and charge more for your services. Focusing on a specific audience also builds trust. When people know that you specialize in them, they're more likely to trust you and know that what you do is tailored for their needs. So let's sum it up. Participate in Facebook groups, answer questions on Twitter, follow up with past clients, and be audience specific. That's all for hints and tips. Remember, you can find more on our social media pages. On Facebook, it's The Green City Startup, and on Twitter, @TheGC Startup. We're always looking forward to hearing from you. Until next time, keep focused.
The top 8 finalists of the GCS 2016 competition have been announced. We visited these finalists at their respective locations of operation to see exactly what they do and how they do it. This was an essential step in the judging process, and coming up next, we see how that process went.
My name is Simpiwe Mtambo. I'm from Khoshikgadi Tradings, and we manufacture biodegradable and affordable sanitary pads. The judges were focusing very much on the business model. They wanted to know answers around pricing, around our distribution, so really the business aspect. I think they're very comfortable with our product, and they want to really know how are we going to make money and how we're going to keep the business sustainable. I think as a team, the 6 months being part of Green City Startup have really helped us to solidify our model and to really think about the nuts and bolts around how we are going to grow and set up our business.
I'm Orion Herman from a company called Liquid Gold. We were confident in the pitch. We were able to demonstrate the business model, more importantly, as well as the product and the prototyping. It became a bit challenging at the end when a lot of questions were asked, which was good. But overall, I felt confident and I felt it went well. The next step is driving market, getting a lot of market traction, developing value within our early adopters, optimizing the operations, creating employment more importantly as well, and just overall impacting on the current water crisis that we're currently having.
I'm Samantha Jack and my business name is Ndoki. The judges asked us a lot of questions, which was exciting because they were really engaging with us and they wanted to know about our product and what we were offering. And so I found that was exciting. And it really helps to have such a smart team and such a hard-working team. And I think that is really the key that helped us going, and it helped when some of us had to sit back because we had something going on in our lives, other people could come to the forward and we could swap as time goes on.
I'm Warren Gray and the product that we're presenting here is called Solid Insights. I think the pitch went pretty well, judging by the questions and the reactions from the judges. And I think we put together quite a good case in the sense that we used the funding that was very generously made available to us, and we actually achieved quite a lot in that time and got to market.
Still to come on the show is part 2 of our site visits to the top 8 finalists. We receive some business guidance from one of our mentors, and we speak to entrepreneur, leadership and development expert Billy Silakane on the big interview. See you after the break. If you have any feedback, questions or comments, please do let us know by connecting with us on our Facebook page, The Green City Startup, and on Twitter at TheGC Startup. Your feedback is always appreciated. Now, if you're an aspiring entrepreneur with innovative ideas, bear in mind that entrepreneurship is not just about having ideas, but rather about making ideas happen. Our top 8 finalists all had ideas, but they didn't leave it at that. They made it happen, and now they're starting to see the fruits of their labor. Next, we continue to look at how the judging went during the finalist site visits.
Hi, I'm Adesh Naidu from Clean Street Trading and Distribution. You know, judges are always going to be very critical or have the tough questions, and I answered the questions to my best of our abilities, and I think it went well. I answered pretty well and gave them enough information to support their judgment. What we worked on for the presentation was from the top 8 until now, you know, what we've done, because we presented in detail about the product and where we're currently at that point. Since then till now, all we did was highlight the ups and downs of the rollouts in Joburg City Parks and Zoos and all the challenges that we faced and all the successes that we had.
My name is Andre Reinicke. I represent the Mize hydraulic hybrid transmission, and our company is called Reserve Holdings. There were quite a few questions. We found it very interesting because the questions were quite varied. It wasn't just specific to technology or business. So in short, we think it was a good session, yes. Look, I have to say, I think the journey was actually more fun than it was stress or strenuous, you know. The one thing I found about Resolution Circle is it's actually been nice working with them, and I'm not just trying to butter up somebody or whatever, but the communication has always been good. That's the one thing that stands out for me in this whole process.
My name is Fihile Makadlela, and I'm currently the founder of Iponi, which is a bicycle sharing startup. It's been a roller coaster ride. I feel like the business received a great opportunity. I mean, it's a great platform to receive funding of this nature, which doesn't come with as much rules and regulations to it as other funding sources that are out there in the world.
David Fincham from Raidawi Fish Farms. I believe our presentation was well received by the judges. You know, they certainly asked us a lot of interesting and probing questions, and I think we were able to give them enough information and the answers as to why the farm in a box and farming fish within the city would be a really valuable industry to develop. And being in basically the food space, when we look at the cost of food, the health issues around food, the availability and food security, I certainly think it puts us in a strong position.
It's not always enough to give a small business capital. Mentoring plays a critical role in assisting with the development of a small business. Next, we receive expert advice from a mentor.
I'm Adam Rubinovitz, Chief Imaginator at Imaginate. Today, we're talking about a great way to generate ideas. No matter what stage your idea is at, there's always room for improvement. Whether we're talking about generating ideas for a brand new product or looking for ways to improve an existing product, this tool will help. It's called the Value Proposition Canvas, and it works like this. On the one side, we have the customer. And on the other side, we have the product or service that the customer wants to use to satisfy a need. Let's say, for example, that we're looking at a customer who has a need for food. That's most of us, right? Here's our hungry customer, and here's the product, a nice hot meal from his favorite fast food restaurant. Let's look more closely at the customer. In order to get his meal, he has to do certain things. We call them jobs. To get his meal, the customer has to find the phone number of the restaurant, phone, wait for somebody to answer, place the order, then go and collect. In the age of convenience, that creates a world of opportunity. Let's look at the next part of the tool. Still looking at the customer side of the diagram, let's see which of those jobs are irritating or pains for the customer. And let's see what the customer gets from the transaction, the gains. Well, the pains are clear. The customer has to phone. Calling the restaurant might take time because you might have to wait. Then when he finally gets through, the place might be busy, they might not be able to hear him, there might be a noise, and the whole experience could be a little frustrating. What if they don't hear him correctly and they get his order wrong? Looking at the gain side, the customer gets, well, the meal from the transaction. That's it. Now we set the stage for the creative thinking part of the exercise. How to relieve the customer's pains and/or enhance some of the gains. I'm sure you could think of a dozen ways to take away the pains or completely eliminate some of the jobs that the customer has to do in order to get his meal. Develop an app. Put it on the customer's phone. Put the whole menu on the app too so the customer can browse. Click, select home delivery and pay. And there goes all the pains from ordering a takeout meal. In fact, the whole experience is fun too, so you've created a gain enhancer. And as you may have figured, I'm a fan of an app called Appetite that has already solved this problem for me. Now that you know how to use the Value Proposition Canvas, try it out on different customers trying to get hold of different products. It's amazing how focusing your attention on relieving customers' pain can generate a wealth of great ideas. Visit our website for more useful tools for entrepreneurs. And you can follow my blog here. See you next time. Take care.
Remember to log on to our website www.TheGreenCityStartup.co.za for more video clips. For now though, we get to know a fellow entrepreneur, Billy Selekane, on the big interview.
Joining us in studio, we have author, speaker, and all-round businessman, Billy Selekane. He's going to be telling us about how we can find mentorship and really journey our path in business. Welcome to the studio, Billy.
Thank you, Noz. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you.
Thank you for being here. So we often emphasize the importance of mentorship in your business journey. Tell us how important really is having a mentor and that mentorship factor in an entrepreneurial journey.
Well, here's the truth that none of us is smart enough to know everything. That's just the bottom line.
That's true.
So if you have a certain gift or a certain talent or have created some product, surely there's a man or a woman who has walked the path that you've walked sometimes, who have learned and fallen through some holes that would have either taken them out of business but became the greatest lessons that they've learned out of that business. So when you're in business, it's important for you to find such men and such women who can then say to you, listen, be careful of pothole X in the street, be careful of dropping brick from this roof. What they do is they will share with you their own personal experiences based on their own journey to make sure that you do as less the mistakes than you would have done if you do not have a mentor or a coach that helps you to walk this path.
And on that topic of lessons, what have been your greatest lessons in your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, my greatest lessons was people are average. People are not like me. I'm crazy. I read so many books. I sleep so many hours. And one of the things that has been my greatest mistake is I have banned a lot of people who are very good for me out, literally, banned them out, you know, because I thought they were like me. And unfortunately, people are not like me. So I've learned to work with people based on their strength, not on my strength. You know, because that can be a mistake. Because if I have to write a document or create a proposal, If I'm going to sleep at 4 a.m. for 2 hours and wake up 6 and do my thing, I'll do it. Because that's the essence of my being driven and my hunger. But not everybody's like that.
Okay.
So some people will be brilliant for 4 hours, and after 4 hours, they can't do more. So I've learned to understand the fact that we've got to let people shine in their own strength and not perceive them to be as we are. And that's a big mistake, you know. And I've also, you know, learned that numbers are important. You've got to know your numbers. You know, for a very long time, I've lost money. I've made crazy mistakes because I have this big dream and the numbers are coming, but I don't, you know, they say if you take care of the pennies, the big ones will take care of themselves. So I was not good at taking care of the pennies. So that's a lesson that I've learned, where now I really watch the pennies so that the big ones can take care of themselves. It's quite important. You have to understand your finances. You have to know your facts and figures at any given point in time. If you don't know, then you're in serious trouble.
Oh, wow, okay. I like that. That speaks like into two things that I'm picking up, like humanizing people and also not trying to replicate yourself.
Absolutely.
Which is really important.
It is, because I'm telling you, like you can't get another girl and make her nosy.
Yeah.
Find another girl, work with her strength, teach her according to her strength, not according to your strength. Because if you're trying to teach her according to your strength, you're trying to replicate and duplicate yourself, which is impossible. To a certain extent, you can do it, but people are people, let them be themselves. And in being themselves, they'll be able to deliver value that you want from them.
And just then lastly, like what advice really do you have for a young person that's really trying to be an entrepreneur, but also wanting to build that brand and that business for themselves and a personal brand? What advice do you have for that person?
You know, this thing about youth entrepreneurship, quite honestly, it's a very amazing concept, because quite honestly, we are too superfluous about our thinking around it.
Okay.
Because I'm saying to myself, a 25-year-old, what experience do they have in life, quite honestly? I don't think they've got a lot of experience. So I'm expecting these young kids to become super entrepreneurs and create these apps. And no, we'll have small little geniuses. But the rest of these young people, they must learn from those that have walked the path. They must go and learn the discipline of working, because some of them will have brilliant concept, nice applications, but they don't have the discipline of time. You know, they just mess around. So I'm saying young entrepreneurs, go and learn from somebody first before you branch out on your own. You know, they say we need the energy of the youth, but we need the wisdom of the old, because the wisdom of the old is like the lighthouse. When a ship is lost at sea, it searches for a lighthouse, because a lighthouse symbolizes that it is closer to the land. So the youth energy is very important for us to energize our young people, but it's also important for us to give them time to learn. So what we need to do, it has to begin from our educational system. Schools have to teach basic entrepreneurial processes and principles. If we cannot get it right there and in our own families, this youth entrepreneur thing is going to explode in our faces, because we seem to think, and most young people also seem to think, they'll start a business today and in 6 months they'll drive a Range Rover and live in Sentin and start drinking expensive champagne. That's not how it works. It takes 20 years to be an overnight success, and that's just the fact of life. The beauty about it is the internet has become one of the greatest equalizers. So you can double up the time at which you go to market, but you've got to have the discipline of having learned from somebody else or getting a mentor and a coach to help you walk this path. Otherwise, it's going to become disaster. And we can see now, statistic tells us, out of every 100 businesses that are created, 98 will die within the next 3 years. It used to be 5 years. Now it's 3 years, because we're living in a very disrupted economy. So things are not changing the way that we used to know them to change. They are being disrupted. So as young people, technology has got the ability to help you to learn things very quickly. But that does not necessarily mean that you're going to become a multimillionaire overnight. It's going to take some time. And by the way, you're going to fail at some businesses before you get to the right business. And there's this thing called to the power of 5. Most things take 5 times more time than we think they would in getting them happening.
Sure. Sure, that's amazing insights. Thank you so much. I really also just love the concept of constant engagement between, you know, the youth and older generation. So thank you for joining us. I'm sure our viewers have got so many insights from you.
Thank you very much.
That was Billy Selekane on The Big Interview, and thank you for watching.
Next week is the final episode of the Green City Startup. The competition comes to an end, and we'll be covering the much anticipated awards evening, where the 2016 winner will be revealed. And that's it for this week's episode. Remember to always follow your dreams, or else you'll spend the rest of your life working for someone who did. Until next time, goodbye.